side to side, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Extra Time, the final word on the weekend's action. It finished at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City 0. Manchester City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. The 6-game winning run came to an end, 7 up. Scenes at the end, which we'll talk about. Smells like team spirit to me, and that's the title of this week's show. In this week's show, we're going to be getting into the following. Of course, we're going to be talking about the game at the weekend at the Etihad. We're going to be doing the man of the match, our performance ratings, and digging deep into that. We're going to be talking about the end of game celebrations, which has divided people on whether it was appropriate or not. There was a video that we put out there at the weekend and it got kind of 50-50 really. So we're going to get your thoughts on that. A little bit of an update with the Wolves women. We've got room 101, of course, for a bit of fun. We'll be looking ahead to Brighton and Hove Albion at the weekend. And of course, we'll be answering your questions. If you do want to get on the show, the link for a couple of minutes with our guests on the show today, the link is in the description of this video. And of course, as always, we do want to say a massive, big thank you to the wonderful people at Creation Wolf who power in tonight's show. The local company delivering the industry's and latest and most advanced digital solutions. They are amazing. They'll take your brand and online presence and digital capabilities to the next level. I say they're Wolves fans, local company helping lots of local businesses and national businesses. CreationWolf.com. We've also got a new game that we're going to tell you a little bit about, which you can get involved. And it's something a bit different actually, and something quite fun, and it's free to download as well. But we'll tell you a little bit about that. So first of all, my first guest that's joining us tonight for the show, we have Mr. Southampton, all the way from Southampton, who hasn't taken this T-shirt off since he's had it. It is Boston Brian in Southampton. First the points, then the points, Brian.
Yes, Dave. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Mate, have you actually taken that off since you've had it? Every time I see you, you've got it on.
I've only just put it on, Dave, just before the show. But I have actually got 2.
Right. Is that right? There you go. And you're keeping well?
I am, Dave. Yes. Yeah. I've been a lot of travelling lately. And once again, next Saturday as well. Yeah. A bit of a long, old night on Friday. I didn't get back home to...
Well, a lot of people have been very worried about you because you did come on the reaction straight after the match. And then, of course, you had to at that point of time, run off, shall we say, to catch the coach. Yeah. To catch the coach.
Yes, I was fine. Yeah, I was okay. The guy was waiting for me, but he was waving in the background and you couldn't see him. Because you were concentrating on the thing and Emma couldn't see because she was filming, but he was waving to me, even though he was blocked in. But apparently, when I got back there, he thought there were on the coach at the front, there was 2 people missing, and he was asking me, was there anybody being interviewed on the coach?
This bloke came over, folding his arms like this, and I was like, maybe he wants to get on. And he was really, I just sat there ever so quietly, nicely, whilst we did the interviews. And the head of, I don't know what's on the security, it was one of the head people that were there before they brought all the railings out, was waiting really nicely, not a job's worth like we have at some places, ever so nice, waiting for us to finish the interview. And then he said, "Any of you on the coach?" And we're like, "No." So he waited for about 5 minutes for us to finish and then went back to the coach. They could have left 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah. Good job they didn't, because I'd have missed it now.
No, you'd already gone.
Oh, I'd already gone, had I? Oh, yeah,
You'd
yeah,
already
yeah.
gone, and then this guy came back and said, like, any of you on the coach? I'm like, no. We wouldn't have been like hanging around, just chilling outside the stadium, waiting. You've gone. So anyway, you got back okay. What time did you get back?
I got back to Oiley, the side of Bridge North, at, just after 1 o'clock. So Saturday morning, I had to creep in so I didn't wake anybody up. But it was it's a occupational hazard, isn't it?
Well, it is that you're in Southampton, but I mean, come on, fair enough, mate. You went on the Wolves coach, got back to Wolverhampton, then drove back to Southampton. Did you? Or were you
No.
staying?
I went back to my mother-in-law's in Highley, the other side of Bridge North. So I was parked at the Wolves, and I went back there, and we came back. When was it? God, I lose track of time. Yesterday, actually. Yeah, came back yesterday. Got back about 7 o'clock last
And
night.
you're up for the Brighton game again.
Yeah, up again on Saturday. Yeah, coming on the train on Saturday though.
Well, loads of people in the chat are saying good evening to you, Brian. So
I can see.
God
Yeah,
bless and everything. So there's loads of people saying good evening, and which is fantastic. So I just want to say this as well, because loads of you watch Extra Time. I mean, we always have loads of people watching it live. We have a couple of thousand that watch it back afterwards. We have a couple more thousand that listens to it on the podcast. The one favor we'd ask is if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out, or follow us on the podcast, whichever you're watching or listening to. And if you can hit the like button, that always helps as well. Let's everyone know that you're enjoying the content. I'm also delighted to bring on tonight for a special appearance. It is the producer herself, Emma. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. What brings you to the show tonight?
Got bullied into it.
No, you wanted to come and talk about a few things with everyone, which is really great to have you. Working hard as always, updating the website, doing the socials, home and away. It's been a busy old week, hasn't it? I mean, just tell everyone about like the week that you have had, because it's been crazy, hasn't it?
It's been pretty busy, yes. But
you haven't got in past 1 o'clock any of the last few nights.
I'm too old for that.
I know. Wednesday night.
That was after 1. Thursday night.
Yeah, that was at the Ghent in Wolverhampton Temple Street show, a social opening, the Temple Street social, which Bully was at, and loads of other great people. Thursday night was
Bully's big night with Johnny Phillips,
and then
and that was after 1 o'clock.
That was after 1 o'clock, and then
Friday night was the match, and that was after 1 o'clock.
I know, yeah. Loads of people saying hi to you as well, Emma, in the chat. They're delighted to see you. JS said there's already 25 likes. Let's get it up to 100 likes. Yeah, that's a good idea, guys. Loads of people saying howdy to you, look, as you can see. So they're loving having you on, which is absolutely fantastic. So the next person I'm going to ask, guys, has anyone, and I'm sure did anyone watch the fantastic series My Mom, Your Dad, which was absolutely brilliant? Enjoyed it. And I'm sure there's quite a few of you that will have watched that. Well, you might have noticed that one of the contestants, participants in that, was a gentleman called Andy Pierce, and he was on with his daughter, and he's a mad Wolves fan, and has had lots of dealings with Wolves over the years as well. And look, there we go. Yes, few people haven't watched it. You can watch it on, I think, on iPlayer. You need to watch it. I'll ask Andy. Few people haven't watched it. Some people have. But I'm delighted to welcome Andy Pierce. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? You all okay?
I'm absolutely brilliant, and we're hoping that your daughter will make an appearance at some point. But for those that don't know about My Mom, Your Dad,
yeah,
tell everyone a little bit about it.
Well, very briefly, it was on ITV. Davina McCall presents a show where
Davina McCall,
sort of single middle-aged parents and their children go into a retreat in Surrey, and the children try and match them with parents. You talk about feelings, middle-age agendas in life, parenting, and everything else. And so it's quite interesting. And obviously they do a review of how you are in life, with challenges you've had, how you were as a child. And funnily enough, when I was 19, they put a picture of me on there and had an old Wolf strip on. I don't know if you saw that episode. It was,
I did, yeah. Of course, we did watch all of it. And the bit where you were having the hoedown as well. That was great. That was.
Yeah. There was some fun times in there. It wasn't as fun as being on here with you, but it was good, Dave.
You're very, 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 very kind. So for those that don't know, you can catch it. It's not BBC iPlayer. It's ITVX. Of course, it is. Yeah. It's on ITVX. And you can still go on and watch the last series, and you'll see Andy and his daughter on that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. And also a little bit that me and you are doing something, participating in something for a great charity next weekend. And now people can come and watch us have some fun next weekend as well. So we'll get on to that. But Andy, absolutely fantastic to have you joining us. How are you feeling? Is she here?
Just arriving, actually. She's just coming in, so excuse the dog.
The dog's going mad for her arriving.
Yeah.
Well, give her a heads up that she's going to come on for 5 minutes later on in the show.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, she'll pop in and say hello by all means.
Oh, that'd be absolutely amazing. So first off, Andy, I think let's kick it off with you. Just generally about this Wolves season as a whole, how you see it, the Gary O'Neill issue, Vitor Pereira, where you are now, the roller coaster that you've been through during the season.
I think it's been a major turnaround in the season, hasn't it? I mean, it's gone from one extreme to the other. The feeling in the crowd, the type of football we played, the support as well. I mean, it was quite toxic at one stage, wasn't it? I mean, obviously we've made some very good signings in January, but that aside, we've still kept the same sort of core of a team, and it just shows how much managing people and a team spirit and galvanising the support has had such an impact. Because obviously there's been tactical tweaks like moving Doc to right centre back, that sort of thing, but essentially it's been pretty much the same team. And even when we struggled without Kuna and everyone was sort of moaning about Larson up front, he stepped up there, shaped the tactics of the team, and it's all looked superb, really. So I think the big galvanising force has been the change of manager. It's brought, obviously, the team together. I mean, the team spirit seems great, doesn't it? And obviously the fan base, you see it with... I think the one thing probably Wolves have lacked is that charisma and connection between the club and the fan base. And by the manager going into the pubs and just his personality and his energy, he's galvanised it and united both. And the feel-good factor, I don't think you can undervalue. I mean, you see that clubs like Wrexham, when Ryan Reynolds was there behind the bar last week pouring drinks for the fans, it's absolutely, it changes the absolute feel of everything, doesn't it? That you go into the match, you've got to bounce and you step, you're looking forward to the games. I've seen you, Dave, absolutely depressed going and leaving some games.
You ain't kidding, yeah.
But everyone's looking forward to it now. And
we were talking about this actually. We were talking about this because we were saying, like, not long ago, it was like, I wish the season would end. And now it's like, can it carry on for another couple of months? Because like we've had it's been so depressing. And now we're actually enjoying this. Well, the football is getting better. We're not conceding so many goals. We look like we're in every game. You're kind of proud of your team again, aren't you?
Yeah. I think, as you say, we've played some superb football, and every game we've played, we won obviously 6 in a row, but even the games that we haven't won, I mean, we could have won against City quite comfortably on Friday, and by no means have we been overrun, tactically outthought. Everything has been at the top level. So as you say, if the season was starting or sort of early stage of the season now, you'd be very excited where we would actually end up. And that's why I think it'll be quite exciting next year. I just hope the manager's backed. And I think it will be a great season next year because he's built on the same foundations that Gary O'Neill had. He's just changed things completely. So yeah, I think it's quite an exciting time. Certainly the feel-good factors back that has been missing, don't you think, for quite a few seasons, really?
Mate, the last 3 years, it's been, we've had a few happy times and joyous days, but it's just been a steady, progress backwards and backwards and backwards, to the point where we thought we were going to be sucked into the championship. And funnily enough, myself and Emma, we were watching a bit of the championship yesterday. And Emma, I'm going to go over to you. What were you saying when you were watching that?
I'm going to offend everyone that watches championship football. It's just totally different to Premier League, isn't it? I just said, I'm just so glad I haven't got to sit through the championship next season, because the football it's not the best.
Who did you watch, Emma?
Who did we watch?
We were watching the Albion game.
It was
we had the Albion. You had the Albion game on against Luton, and then it was turned over to Coventry.
Yeah, that's it.
And Middlesbrough. And let's face it, looking at the Championship, Coventry are going great guns under Frank Lampard, and that they look the form team. And it's an exciting division, because right to the end, no one knew who was going to win the title. No one knew who was going to make up the last couple of places in the playoffs. There was about 3 or 4 teams. There was also the relegation. So from an excitement point of view and jeopardy and all of that, it was quite it's thingy. But like you were saying, it's so much slower, the technicality of it and stuff. And it's interesting you should say that, because as bad as we were even under Gary O'Neill,
we still were championship bad.
Well, yeah, we went to Blackburn, and I think it was Blackburn, and battered, or was it Bristol City, and battered them. We were 2-0.
No, we got Pereira, hadn't we, by the time we went to Bristol City?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. The FA Cup started
wasn't
in
that
January.
Aquadu's first game?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
And we played both Blackburn and Bristol City, who both were pushing for the playoffs. Bristol City had gone the playoffs, and we were just so much better. And you just think the gap between the Premier League and the Can
I just say, it's not a gap though, is it? It's a gulf. It's huge.
Brian, go on, Andy.
I went to Port Vale yesterday against Gillingham, and respectfully, you could tell the difference massively. And I've been to a few games. I went to Wrexham, Shrewsbury, and yeah, the difference, even in that level, because Wrexham have got some, like Stephen Fletcher's there, and there's a few old Wolves players and a few good players there, and they absolutely stand out, against the other teams in that level. The only good thing about it all is there's no VAR. That's the only. So if it's the game, if it's a competitive game, it has more flow. But yeah, there's a huge gulf, as you say, in the abilities, the pace of the game, everything else. So yes, thank goodness we're not being dragged into that relegation fight, because it would be, as exciting as it is being in the championships with the frequency of games. Gosh, a lot of the football is just not the standard that you watch at the moment. Exactly.
And do you know what? We had many years, didn't we, as Wolves fans in the championship? We went up, we've gone down and stuff like that. And we've the 8th successive year that we're in the Premier League, we feel like a Premier League club in terms of that's where we should be. But we've really skated close to the sun and getting burnt this year. And just coming back to your point, Andy, about the summer, and I think we'll talk a lot more about this over the coming weeks and months. The summer window, the business they do this summer, the way they do that is going to be absolutely key, because I really do think under this man that anything is possible if he gets supported right. And I think there's a lot of people watching this right now, and I know there'll be quite a few people in the chat that will be very, very skeptical about how he's going to get backed in, and I don't think the fans are going to, are not going to be happy if he's not supported. But hopefully he will be. We've talked about the Cunha and who might go. Andre and Joe Gomez for me, Brian, under no circumstances. Can they go?
No, it's crucial that they stay. I mean, they've got such a good relationship, aren't they? They're now playing for their first choice for Brazil now, aren't they? You know, so yeah, we can't lose those. I mean, we will eventually. I mean, obviously, at some stage in the years to come, we probably won't be able to hold on to them. But let's not. Let's try and be a bit more successful. Let's get back to the Nuno days, 7th place and things like that, qualifying for Europe, and they'll probably stay like Neves and Martino stage, you know. And so yeah, but going back to that Championship football, I watched the Bristol City game yesterday because I've got a friend who's a big Bristol City fan. The guy I used to work with at Southampton Football Club, yeah, and he's a season ticket holder there, and I want them to do well for him, and also it's a day out for me because I'll stay at his house and that, you know. So I'm a bit biased there, but as Emma said, it's a chasm. The difference between the Premier, there always has been a difference. I mean, there always has been. But I watched the Oxford Leeds game. It was a midweek game the other week, about 2 weeks ago. That was the team that was at the top. They won 1-0, I think it was at Leeds, but it was dire. It was that they're the team that's gonna. Well, they won it and they've won the league with 100 points. But it was. I thought, God, you know, I hope we're not, you know, going to be playing this football next year.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, and it's maybe it's something that we can discuss like again over the summer. The gulf between the Premier League and the Championship for the second year running. The 3 teams that have come up have gone down. Leeds have gone up. Of course, you've got Burnley that have gone up with 100 points, and there'll be one of the other ones to be. But there's a big jump. And not like when Wolves came up, 2 7th place finishes. Forest managed to stay up and they've kicked on. You've just got to stay up when you come up, haven't you? I do want, before we get on to talking about the game yesterday, I do want to send a little bit of love of love and best wishes to my good friend Simon from Walsall Fan TV. He is one of my best mates. Went to school. Went to school with him. He started the channel because of what we were doing, and he does Walsall Fan TV. And his motto is the joy and the pain, and we know all about that. And I said to him at the start of last season, talking to Walsall, he says, "Oh no, nothing. We're not going to be anywhere." Then they're like 14 points clear at the top of League Two, with a game in hand of second place. And I said to him on a night out with him, I said, like, if you won't swear, if you mess this up, you don't deserve to go up. And then, so they went 9 games where they won in 9 games in a row or something like that. And then they've gone like, they went 13 games without a win, dropped from 14 points clear into the playoffs. And then yesterday, they're away at Crewe. They actually are winning the game. They win the game. Bradford, who's the other team that they're playing against, they're drawing, and the Walsall game's finished. And Bradford hit the post, have one cleared off the line, miss a sitter from 6 yards. He sat in the stadium at Crewe, and I'm listening to it on the radio. I'm about to meet my mate Jason, who, by the way, is a Bacchus fan for his sins. He'd been to the match. I was meeting up with him for a game of snooker. And then the Bradford scored, didn't they, in the 97th of 96 minutes.
Yeah, but it went in off the guy's backside there.
I know. And I'm thinking about Simon, oh my God, that's us. That's the sort of thing that would happen to us. And they're in the playoffs, and they've got Chesterfield, and it's like, you just think, is it meant to be? Anyway, just wanted to say that. Let's get on to the talking points from the game yesterday. I'm going to go with you first, Andy. What's your thoughts about the game yesterday?
I mean, City have got something to play for now with their Champions League place, and they had the momentum from beating Forest last week. So they looked a little bit better, I think, than they had if we'd have played them a few weeks ago. But I thought if we'd have put some early chances away, we could have beaten them, actually. I thought we played really well. To be honest, I've been to a few City games this season. Even at the start of the season, they haven't been quite at it all season. And I think our midfield again looked great. As you were saying earlier, the two Brazilian guys are two of the best central midfielders in the league for me. The way they keep the ball, their strength, and keep possession, everything. I mean, they look superb. So yeah, I thought we played well. We were unfortunate to lose, and yeah, we can hold our heads up high, move on to the next game, and obviously we were playing more for pride and keeping that momentum going. But I think with the way we're coached and the spirit there, it didn't look like we were on the beach by any means. You know, everyone was at it, and I thought we played well, and admirable performance from everyone, really.
Absolutely. And do you know what, Andy? I don't think Vitor Pereira is going to let this team be on the beach.
No.
He's building momentum. After they were safe, I think he could sense a relaxation in training. He said he took them in, he had a chat with them, and they said they weren't relaxed anymore. They're focused. They're playing as a team, like you say. Massive opportunities. Bellegarde, great ball, straight through on goal. Could have shot, didn't hit the pass. It was almost like the game in the World Cup when the ball goes across the face of goal and Gaza just misses it in the semi-final. Yeah. It was kind of like that.
Appreciate it.
I know. To be honest, a lot of people said he should have shot, but had he shot and missed, or the keeper saved it, he would have had pelters for not just squaring it to Menezes. So I think he did the right call, but he just overhit the pass, and it was just like, and then we hit the post, cleared off the line.
Yeah, we had some great chance. Yeah, it was just the execution. He overhit it a little bit, I think, in the post. It's just bad luck, isn't it? But yeah, I think the application, you can't doubt it. The way the team are there, everyone's fighting for their places. You know, the manager tweaks it every week, doesn't he? You know, and yeah, I think he's not, as you saw when he didn't bring Kuna straight back in. No one's sort of a favourite there, really. So I think everyone's still on their toes, and until the last game of the season, everyone will be putting their utmost into every performance. So, which is good, because you see so many games at the end of the season, don't you, which are just dull. You know, everyone's thinking of their holidays and doesn't want to get injured, but there's no way you'll let that team relax. So, and I think they're all motivated to continue to entertain us and play good football. So,
absolutely, mate. Emma, I mean, you were there yesterday. Friday, yeah. Yeah, it seems like everything's blurring into one.
It's a bit of a blur, isn't it?
It is. What's your take out at the moment from where we're at and from yesterday, and not from yesterday, from Friday and everything? I mean, and you know, you're in the crowd, and we are going to talk about the end celebrations in a little bit. Get your takes on that, and we do have some callers in the on the line. We've got Oz from Chicago. We've got Scott that are on the line, which we'll get them on for their take in a little bit. And don't forget, if you want to call through and talk to Andy, Emma, or Brian and myself, you can call through, and we will be doing a Q&A at the end. Emma, you know, how were you feeling about that, the game, and what talking points did you want to sort of bring up your observations?
Well, I think as much as City haven't been at their best for the majority of this season, coming up to this business end, they're doing all right. They're pushing for the Champions League. And you can't underestimate City. We were never going to go there and roll them over. It was never going to be easy, although a lot of fans were on that sort of momentum of the 6 wins and thought, oh, we'll go on to the next one. I thought City were pretty solid, but we still caused some problems. And I think that just shows how far we've come. And perhaps at the beginning of the season, there was, you know, that gulf I was talking about with the Championship. There was that gulf between us and teams like City. But now I think that's closed, and we're a lot nearer to City than possibly than we expected. I thought Doku was an absolute handful. He was really good for them, and we did well to control that as much as we did. Their goal really came from an error, didn't it? Andre lost the ball in midfield, and they got in and got their goal. We were unlucky, and if we'd have converted those chances, it could have been a totally different story. I feel we went toe to toe with City. I can't argue. I'm quite proud of the performance, and at the end, it didn't feel like a significant loss
because of the performance. And we're going to come on to the end in a bit. Brian, I'm just going to go through everyone's man of the match and performance rating at the moment. Brian, if you watch the instant reaction after the game, Brian gave his thoughts. And so we're going to do that, and then we're going to get the first of our phone-in people on. Brian, are you sticking with your Lee Moore Windows man of the match, Fox at Shipley performance rating, your Parkside moment of the day, or are you changing it?
No, I'm going to stick with everything. Yeah, I think Agbadou he's made a massive difference to this club. He's a general, isn't he? He's got to be. If Semedo leaves, he's got to be the next captain. You know, the club. He's tremendous. As Emma said, he did play this first game at Bristol, but he played on the left, didn't he? Because Totti was injured, and he wasn't comfortable there. Because he'd probably be all right on the right side of a three because he's right-footed. But he's just grown in confidence. He doesn't look out of place at all. He's playing in. Oh, is it the best league in the world? Oh, it probably is the best league in the world because the amount of class players we've got. But Agbadou, yeah, I'll give him the man of the match. My rating was 7.5. I'd have given it higher if we'd have won. I'll just come to my thing that made me smile. But I'm just going to say, just concur with what Emma said. If you look at those two games in Manchester that we did in 2 weeks, the United game and the City game, we won one and we lost one. We played better in the game that we lost, didn't we? I think we, although we were never really under that much threat at United, the stats prove that. But the stats also showed that on Friday as well, because they had more possession, but as Vitor said before the game, you're not going to go there. No team's going to go there and dominate possession because they have got quality players, even though they're going through a transitional period. They have got quality players, but the telling points, Sarr had one save to make, which it was very difficult. It was a great finish from De Bruyne. They said there was 2 shots on target. I know there was that one in the first half that I don't know whether it was on target. I think
you're on about the one that it was the young lad that came in. I think obviously it was a corner, so I'm not sure whether it was on target or at the top of the bar. But the fact is that Sarr made the save.
Yeah, he made the save. Yeah,
so I'm guessing they counted it as an on-target shot.
Yeah.
And you know what? The De Bruyne goal. De Bruyne is really, really clever there because everyone's been drawn to the ball to stop Doku, and De Bruyne just hangs back. And
I was just going to say about that, Dave. I was just literally coming along there because Emma mentioned it. Andre lost the ball, and he was annoyed. And you watch him; he sprints back into the box to try and make up for it, but he sprints right past De Bruyne. He's more worried about Doku than De Bruyne. And I think if he'd have had he hadn't got that emotion about I've lost the ball, I want to make amends for it. It'd close it down because there was 2 guys trying to get to Doku, and also the thing about Doku is he's very right-footed, isn't he? And he very rarely goes on the outside, and that was probably the only time that he actually went on the outside. But he beat Doku. I thought initially he beat Semedo, but he hadn't. It was Doku he beat, and then Andre's like sprinting back. He's off balance, and the ball go straight to De Bruyne.
If he'd have just stayed with De Bruyne, he would have cleared that. But De Bruyne is a very, very, very intelligent footballer, isn't he? And sometimes it's not how much you run to something; it's about just creating that space. The ball comes to him, and of course he hits through it. Sarr's kind of going the other way and doesn't save it, and it's just De Bruyne always scores against us. I'm going to go to Andy now.
I was just going to say about my thing that made me smile, Dave.
Oh yes,
same as Friday. It was how pathetic Mateus Nunes was. He was probably the worst player on the pitch. He either knocked the ball too long, he knocked it out on the side. He was useless, wasn't he? It was the best bit of business Wolves ever did. getting our money back plus 16 million quid for him.
I know,
Brilliant.
and I'm not sure he'll be there. We've got Steve here, who's from Ontario in Canada. Let us know, by the way, in the chat where you're watching it from tonight. That would be great. We're always interested to see where you're watching from live. I know loads of people watch it back on Capital, lots of places. But let's see where in the world you all are on at the moment. That would be amazing. I'm going now to Andy. Andy, your man of the match from yesterday.
Well, if you want me to get Izzy on, she can choose the man of the match. We've both got the same choice, so I'll just go and get her if you want. It'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah, get her on.
So she can pronounce his name better than I as well.
That'd be fantastic. So if you're listening to this back on the podcast, Andy's going to get Izzy, his daughter, that was on My Mom, Your Dad as well, and the dog has left the sofa. As what happens with Ralph and Emma, because Ralph's Emma's shadow. If Emma moves, Ralph the dog will almost certainly follow Emma around.
You sound slightly jealous there.
Yeah, he loves you, doesn't he? I mean, he loves me, but like you feed him, so he follows.
It's not just about the feeding.
Whilst we're waiting for Andy to come back, Emma, your man of the match.
I'm going to concur with Brian. I'm going to go with Agbadu. I think. Do you know what? It reminds me a bit of Willy Bolly in the way that he's just so calm and serene, and how there is just he just gets on with it. Milo.
There they go. We were just saying that we're just waiting for Izzy, come and sit on the sofa. Come on, so everyone can see you properly.
Not really room for me, and I'm in the middle of.
She's in the middle of baking.
How are you? Okay,
Getting ready for the bake-off.
Yeah.
Bake-off. Are you going to go on that next? Are you?
Maybe, hopefully.
Fantastic. We were just Izzy's obviously Andy's daughter. It was on My Mom, Your Dad. So we watched it all. We loved it. And everything, and you came across amazing as well. I'll say that to you as well.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You both really did, and I know that you've made some great friends doing it as well, which is fantastic too. We were just on the man of the match from yesterday, and apparently you and your dad agree.
Yes, I'm Emmanuel.
Agbadu.
Oh,
that's it.
Can't pronounce the last name. I don't want to butcher it and be offensive, so we'll go for Emmanuel.
Yeah, Andy, you concur with that, dear?
Yes. I brought her in for the pronunciation.
No,
you want to do it in numbers, Dave, and then we could just pick the number. That'd be easier.
Emmanuel Agbadu.
Okay.
Why are you picking him? Is he?
Well, I'm not that football educated, so I'm just agreeing.
We just thought he was immense at the back, really. As you say, their goal came from midfield with Andre, really, and I think he's just steadied the ship completely. And as Brian said, I think he's captain material, isn't he? He's just changed the team, and every game he plays, he looks superb. So we're going.
Whilst you're out the room, Emma was also agreeing with you. Yes, Emma. So Emma, Brian, Izzy, you and me, we all went for Emmanuel Agbadu for yesterday. What's your performance rating from yesterday out of 10?
8.
A solid 8?
Yeah.
And
I think he played well.
Have you got a moment of the day? It could be anything. It could be having some of Izzy's cooking. It could be anything, Moments of the day.
Well, I actually cooked yesterday, so there's no good moments to report on that. I think I just think the general performance, really. I think that was the moment of I just enjoy the camaraderie of the whole team. I think that has changed so much under the new manager, and you can actually feel it and see it. So I think the camaraderie and the team spirit, whether they unfortunately lost, or whatever, it's just the way they played. As Brian said, I think they arguably played better than they did against Man United. So I think the camaraderie of the team. That's my moment of the day.
Absolutely brilliant.
Is she cooking?
Izzy?
Thank you, Izzy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you later.
See you later. That's Izzy. She's doing some baking at the moment. A lot of people agree, saying Emmanuel Agbadu is the best defender in the league. We're up to 53 likes. Let's get this to 100. Just a few people that are in. We got the Wirral, we got Derby, someone near Wrexham at the moment. We got Abergele in North Wales, Stratford-upon-Avon, Dublin, Bilston, the centre of the known universe. Pamela's in Spain. Merv's in Rayanda, if I say that right, probably can't say that. Worcester, Liverpool. We've got Ireland over here. We're all over the place. Oh, we got Terry's over in Malta at the moment, watching in a hotel, which is amazing. It just amazes me where people are from. I mean, they're all over the world. They watch, which is fantastic. Now, guys, I'm going to bring on. I'm going to go to Emma first of all because you said Agbadu. Your performance rating from yesterday, Emma.
I think it's probably worthy of an 8, which I wouldn't normally give for a loss, but I just think it was real fine margins, the difference. So I'm going with an 8.
An 8. And what was your moment of the day for you?
Do you know what was really, really nice?
Yeah.
No fear. I felt the team had no fear. The crowd had no fear. It like this season has just been like one of those. I mean, since Pereira's been in, it's been totally different. But I just remember all those matches where I went to every match, and for the entire match, I just felt dread for the entirety of the 90-odd minutes. And it's just nice to relax a bit and not have that intrepid feeling of, oh my God, what's going to happen? How many we're going to lose by?
I love it. Right, we're going to thank you very much for having. We're now going to bring on our first phone-in guest for who want to make their points. And we've got all the way from Chicago, US of A. It's Oz. Oz, thank you for joining us, mate.
Hi, Oz.
Hello.
Chicago. How you doing? And Oz, you were a massive hit last week, talking about Vitor Pereira. What point would you like to make this week, mate?
Well, I told you I would phone in if we won, but we lost. But we played a great game, so I said, what the hell? I have to phone. I think it was we played as good as we could against a very, very good Manchester City team in Manchester. So defensively, I think we played a perfect game. I mean, entire 90 minutes, Manchester had only one clear chance, and unfortunately, they scored. So defensively, I cannot find any fault in the team, really. Especially, like you guys all said, Agbadu was flawless. And on the right-hand side, Doc and Semedo, most of the game, they had to double team Doku. I mean, I know you watch NFL, Dave. I don't know other guests watch NFL or not, but Doku has this built of a running back. He has very low center of gravity. He is very strong. He is very, very fast. I mean, towards the end of the game, I remember one position that he started dribbling the ball. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Rodrigo is the fastest player that we have in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
Rodrigo could not catch him. He was still faster than Rodrigo with the ball. And because he played a very, very good game, Semedo didn't really go forward that much, and Doc couldn't really go forward that much either. And on the right-hand side, they had Marmoush. So that prevented Totti to support the offense. So that's why we had this very, very kind of a boring game, really. I mean, in the entire game, there's a total of 3 great chances, 2 of them Wolves and 1 of them Manchester. And playing like a team Manchester City, if you have 2 positions, 2 chances, and if you miss them both, the best you can hope for is a tie. I mean, you're not going to have 5, 6, 7 chances against Manchester City. Forget about that. You have 2, you have to convert at least one of them. And unfortunately, didn't happen.
Well, to be honest, there was obviously the Bellegarde chance. They hit the post from Ait-Nouri. The rebound was blocked on the line. Cunha, it was a quarter chance, and he hit the post from as well. And like you say, it's like if you don't take these chances. I mean, the Bellegarde chance to Menezes, that if he gets that pass right, even Menezes is not going to miss that.
Yeah, I mean, like Vitor said after the game, just this is football, right? I mean, you will miss sometimes. This will happen. And I cannot fault Bellegarde for that. I mean, just it's like a split-second decision. You kick the ball a little bit too hard, a little bit too far, it's gone. So those things happen. I'm not blaming them for missing those chances, really. But if you miss those chances, you will either lose the game, very likely to lose the game, really, against a team like Manchester. And after that, man, Manchester City is such a great team. They just killed the game. After they scored, they killed the game. They didn't let anybody play ball, really. They had the possession. They just dribbled, pass. And unfortunately, in games like this, you have to have a very strong bench to change the course of the game. And on the offensive side, I don't think Wolves' bench is good enough. I mean, we have Sarabia. Sarabia is decent enough. He's great against mediocre to bad teams, and he's decent enough against teams like City. But I'm sorry, I don't want to offend any fans, but Guedes and Wang, their sell-by date, it's way past. I mean, they really stink.
Yeah, so you think both Guedes and Wang should be moved on in the summer?
I think so. I mean, you have to look. A team like this, you will be placed because there are some lessons to be learned from this game. We all see Wolves are playing like a team now, and they will continue to play like this. And I think it's safe to say they will be placed somewhere between 5 and 10 next year. But with a stronger bench, you can push some higher ranks here.
So do you think if we have a good summer, the forward line is tweaked? Because I think defensively, midfield wise, I think it's the forwards that are going to have the most work. Do you think we can be pushing between that 5th to 10th place, or do you think we could get even higher than that?
No, I think if we can have a decent replacement for Cunha, because we're losing roughly 20 to 25 goal contributions, not the goals, but goal plus assist or assist of assist.
Yeah.
So we have to have a decent replacement for Cunha. Provided we have that, I think it's safe to say we will be somewhere between 5 and 10. But to be higher than that, we need some star power there or some starish players. Especially like we missed Larson yesterday. But next year, it's going to be a very long season, and we'll definitely have games without Larson. And we cannot have Munetsi playing for Larson, expecting Munetsi to get the long balls, keep the ball, distribute the ball. It won't happen. He can't do that. Yesterday, a lot of people were complaining about Munetsi because, the poor fella, he tried to do Larson's job, but he can't. It's not him. It's not his play. So we have to have some decent bench players to support the starting 11. And right now, except Sarabia on the offensive side, we don't have anybody really.
Well, Sarabia is definitely going to be going. Wang, he doesn't seem to be getting on the bench, getting off the pitch. I'm not sure Vitor Pereira really think. I know he's got the South Korean audience, and they've been trying to tap into that. Wolves are because he's South Korean, and you see the South Koreans, and it's a revenue stream and stuff. But that's not the reason for keeping a player if he's not performing. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Guedes, I thought he's done a lot better this season than he has in the past. But again, the forward line is so important. Like I say, Cunha does go, which seems likely. But like has been mentioned in the chat, I have heard that there's a couple of Brazilians that they've got their eye on. That there is already, and I've heard it from 2 or 3 different places that these players know who they are. Wolves know who they are. The agents know who they are. They're just ready to press the go button on it for some players coming in. And definitely one of those is a Brazilian. But again, this is at the moment hearsay. Until someone's got the shirt and signed it, it's all that. But we've definitely been linked. But I have heard that from 2 or 3 different sources, actually, from different people that are different places within the club that's on the cards, and which is why Wolves, from my understanding, are looking to get the Cunha deal done as quick at the end of the season, so that they've got all, and which is why also they've put back the accountancy period from the end of May to the end of June, which is in line with most clubs because of the PSR and all of that. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. But thank you ever so much, Oz, for coming on the show again. Much appreciated.
Oh, Dave, before Oz goes, can I ask him a question?
Yeah, of course.
You lived in Istanbul, did you, Oz?
No, I grew up in Ankara.
Oh, Ankara, the capital, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I visited Istanbul a lot, but I grew up in Ankara, and then 1998 I moved to US.
Okay.
So I'm pretty much Americanized right now.
Who is your Turkish team, though? Is it?
Oh, Fenerbahce, of course.
Yeah, God, crikey, he's part of the Fenerbahce fan channel, people.
Yeah, look, I mean, our team is in turmoil as usual. But look, we have a saying in Turkey, everybody is born as a Fenerbahce fan, and then later on they make some mistakes in life and change their teams. So
be great if Wolves play Fenerbahce. That we could have a real good link up with that one. That would be amazing.
I mean, I can actually, I spotted 2 Fenerbahce players that Vitor should get for Wolves next year, but we have a left center back. Kid is like 19 years old. He's awesome, and I know Wolves are thin on the left center back, left defense. Like Totti, if Totti is injured, we don't have anybody to cover, right?
Yeah.
So this kid is awesome, and then we also have this center forward. We got him from Valencia last year. No, not Valencia, Sevilla. I'm sorry, Yusuf En-Nesyri. He is this Algerian national. He is excellent. So hey, if you have connection to Vitor
Pereira, if you're watching, us from Chicago, who's a Fenerbahce fan, have a look at those. So yeah, thanks, Oz. It's going to be an interesting summer. I'm sure you're going to come on plenty of times to talk about all of this.
Thank you, guys. Yep, thank you.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
Great to have Oz on the show. I know he was a hit last week. If you haven't watched last week's show, he talked a lot about Vitor Pereira. I'll try and put a short on that because it was so insightful. Because obviously Vitor Pereira managed over towards that. I don't know whether he managed Fenerbahce or I can't remember now, but he talked very insightfully about Vitor Pereira and what he's bringing, which was absolutely fantastic. Before we go on to the next segment, I do want to tell you about a new game that you can get involved with. And this is, shall I say, it is Match Bingo. It's cross between football and bingo. How do you play? Well, I'll tell you how you play. Anything that happens during the game, like a throw-in or a corner or a yellow card or a red card, you've got lines, and you can buy like you do any bingo card. It's all random, and you can win for lines. You can win for houses. It's a free-to-download app. I'm going to put on the screen there the QR code. So if you're watching, get your phone out, scan the QR code, download the app for free. sign in for that. Try it out. Let me know how you like it. But basically, it's a cross between bingo and football. And as I say, it's really, really good fun. So check that out. The link's also to that in the description below. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to be asking honest opinions from Andy, Emma, and Boston, is the end of the game at the weekend. Wolves had lost the game. Vitor Pereira brings the fans over, and then this happens. So basically, Vitor Pereira gets all the team together like we had done with the wins, and does the olays. Wasn't instigated by the fans, was instigated by Vitor Pereira. And we put that out on social, and it's caused quite a bit of people calling it embarrassing, pathetic, to other people saying it's fantastic. You know, we shouldn't be celebrating a defeat. Obviously, Vitor Pereira, I don't think, was celebrating defeat. What I think the message was, from his point of view, is we've had a great run. We're together as one with you and the fans. And I think it was them allaying the fans rather than anything else. Brian, I want to get your instant thoughts on that, on whether you approved of it or not. I'll give people my views at the end, but I mean, and you guys can get involved in the you girls can get involved in the chat with your views as well, and we'll put them on the screen. But Brian, what's your take on it?
Well, initially, Dave, I was trying to get out the ground because you wanted to do an interview with me, and I had to get on the coach, so I wasn't really concentrating at that point. You know, I saw it, and I must admit I was a little bit surprised that we've lost the game. And I thought, well, that's the camaraderie, but I was a bit indifferent to it really until we had a conversation on Discord today after you'd put it in, and I can understand the people who were annoyed by it and thought they were, a bit embarrassing. I think Chris said later on as well that because somebody said just come over and give an applause might have been the best thing to do, and I probably concur with that now. But it's just being wise after the event, and they played really well, and I think they were just caught up with the euphoria of having a good performance. But I'm not that bothered about it really. But I can understand people's point of view.
Fantastic, Emma. You were there as well. What's your take of it? And then we're going to come to Andy and the dog.
Yeah, sorry about that. By the way.
No problem, mate.
All the comings and goings. So sorry about that.
Yeah, personally, it's not my choice, but I can see exactly why he did it. And being in the ground and present there, it didn't feel wrong at the time. And it did feel that it was directed as a thank you to the fans. And it also felt like, I think he just wants to keep the momentum going and the unity and the team spirit. He's just trying to push that through. And I think that's been one of the key focuses and one of the key reasons why he's successful. I don't think you'll see it as a regular thing when we get defeated. I just think on this occasion, he obviously felt it was right. And he was obviously I think he was trying to portray that message that we are a team, we are together, we're unified and one with us and you as fans. But I don't think it'll be a regular thing you'll see. I think it was a one-off.
Fantastic. Andy, you obviously, I don't think you were there, but you probably will have seen all the Paul. You watched it, and he did the. What's your take?
Exactly the same as Emma said there. I think as I referred to earlier, the camaraderie that he's built and the unity and the connect with the fans. That sort of interaction continues it. If they'd just clapped and walked off, I mean, as you say, they weren't celebrating defeat. It's the support that the fans gave, which was fantastic. You know, it can be quite quiet at the Etihad, and Wolves fans made a great noise there. The team played well, so why not celebrate together? You know, and just as you say, combine the energy of the fans and the players. So I think it's all about unity, and I don't see a problem with it. As you say, if it was a regular thing and you were losing games and celebrating, then you talk about it. But I don't think it would ever happen. The guy's a winner. Obviously, he wants to win. He's disappointed to lose, but the fans were there. They were very vocal. They turned up in their numbers. The players were very committed. Everyone played well. So, you know, let's sort of try and unite the two and keep that feel-good factor going and that unity that they've built. So I don't really see a problem with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think that echoes my thoughts on it, really. I mean, being in the stadium at the end, coming off the back of a 6-game winning run against a Manchester City side that, okay, Liverpool haven't been crowned champions. They're that, you know, were the champions. They are until Liverpool get their trophy. A team that is, you know, in the runnings, looking like they're going to get Champions League away from home, when, you know, we could have even won the game. It was a solid performance. There is a sense of pride within the fan base. There's a sense of pride with the travelling fans. There's a sense of unity within the team. There's a bond that Vitor Pereira has clearly tapped into. The first the points, then the points, going down the pub and everything. And at the end of the game, you know, personally, I was surprised. It took me aback that he went for the Olays, but I saw it coming. It was like a tidal wave that was building, because I saw Pereira linking the hands with the players and saying to the players, "We're going to Olay the fans." Now, there are those that are on social. There, of course, they just sit behind their keyboards and they will come out and they go, "Oh, this is embarrassing." They probably weren't even at the game. Probably some of them probably never been to an away game or something like that, and calling it that. I mean, they're entitled to their opinion, and that's fair enough. But the point that I think we need to get across, this was not Vitor Pereira and the players celebrating a defeat. This was Vitor Pereira, for me, saying to the fans, "We appreciate you. We appreciate the support that you're giving us. We want this bond between the players, the club, and the fans." And I think it was just an instinctive thing that he did there, to say thank you to the fans, and he did it. It possibly was a little bit OTT, but Vitor Pereira is someone that wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, he's a passionate guy.
Yeah, he's a passionate guy, and he comes and he goes into the press conferences with a smile. This isn't a man that has got ultra white teeth and a beige personality like we had with our previous manager. It's a man that comes with pride, that wants to be the manager of this club, that wants to make this team into something special, that wants the team to play with courage and identity. And he's clearly emotional. He's buying into the club. I'd rather have someone like that managing our club that gets us, and maybe it was a big gesture from him that some maybe misinterpreted, but I can tell you for a full fact, it was Vitor Pereira saying thank you to the fans and getting the players to have that bond. And that bond had been broken. It had been shattered into multiple pieces. Yeah. And this guy is the glue that bit by bit is putting these pieces back together, and which is why it's so important for me in the summer that glue and that pack and that bond goes to the board and the chairman, making sure that he is given the tools to continue to do the job that he is. And that's really, really important. So look, I can understand why people reacted how they were if they took it out of context, seeing it on social. Believe me, it wasn't celebrating a defeat. It was celebrating a bond and a unity that he's trying to get. And you have to respect the man, in my opinion.
Can I just say something there, Dave? Can I just say
Yeah.
something there? Living in the south here, and having worked in London for many years when I had a proper job before I retired. I've got a lot of friends who are, Spurs fans, Chelsea fans, West Ham fans, obviously a lot of Southampton fans, and the amount of stuff I've had sent to me on WhatsApp, the links to, first the points, then the points and the bits in the pub and that, they've sent it to me, and they said, this is fantastic. They're just saying, I wish we had a manager like that. It's countless teams that are saying that. We're the envy of the country at the moment to have a manager like that.
It is. I mean, how many managers do that? He's making us proud. He's making us believe again. He's making us dream again. He's making us think that, this is the second golden age of the Wolves in the Premier League. So look, it is what it is. I personally don't think he'll do it again. I think it was more of a thank you and a thingy. A clap would have been great. I think it's a one-off. I think it's probably not something that's going to come out all the time. But fair play to the guy. He's doing all the right things, and I'd rather have a manager like that than someone's beige. I'd rather have someone that's colourful and full of passion and commitment than the opposite side. And look what he's achieving. Our next guest phoning to come on very, very quickly is Scott. Let's see what he has to say.
Scott. Oh my God, sorry.
Oh, hi, Dave.
Yeah, hi. What's your point that you'd like to make, young man?
I think lights on, please.
Can you put your lights on because we can't see you?
Hang on, I need to get that light in there. It is on. Look, it is on.
Okay.
It is on.
There you go. Fair enough.
Okay, that works. Okay.
So
I'm just remembering going back to Keith, and we called him Ghost Man.
Mate, and listen, I've got to tell you this, and you might not remember this, but we had this one chap on. He's a lovely bloke. He came on, and it was literally like he was in. All you could see was the outlined silhouette in a dark room, and people kept calling him Ghost Man. Because he could literally, and he looked like it was Nuno because he had a Nuno type beard. It looked like couldn't come on because we thought it might be Nuno that was coming on as a fan. And we said to Ghost Man, and I was literally rolling. There was tears coming down my eye. It was so funny. And we said, how come you've got no light? He said, like, I'm not allowed the light on because I've got my phone. And he was like, had this silhouette with the light. He said he was in the shed down the garden because he wasn't allowed. It was so funny. We were rolling. And then he came on the following week. He'd renamed his guest as Ghost Man. He's since become a member as well.
Scott, it's all about the lighting. You've got to have good lighting. That's why we all look so beautiful, because we're so well lit, you see. You've got to have perfect lighting to look this good.
Fantastic. Whatever happened to Ghostman? Ghostman, if you're out there, please come back. Get
him out the shed.
Come on. He's probably locked in the shed. Wishes might have locked him and forgot he was there. He's wasted away. He might be a ghost by now. We don't know, do we? Anyway, Scott, what's your point? He's on the Discord chat. He's a member now, Ghostman. He's joined. And guys, if you want to become a member of the channel, it helps us out. And we have a private Discord group. There's loads of chats going there. Check out the membership area, become a member, and we'll get you on the Discord group, and you can even chat to Ghostman. Right, Scott, over to you.
Right, so I think first, because I watched the game on TV, first 30 minutes, we were quite solid. We were the one in control. And I thought we just got to keep this momentum, keep the attacking prodigy up, which we did. But then the minute, it felt like a switch off at the back, because when you watch it on replays, there's no one even trying to mark Kevin De Bruyne. And it's just and then he's got massive open space to just score from.
That's correct, yeah.
But even when we did go 1-0 down, you could see the team still wasn't giving up until even the last kick of the game with the last minute corner. They weren't giving up until the very last kick.
Absolutely. It's absolutely brilliant. And did you watch the game with Jade?
Yeah, she's here right now.
Hi.
Oh, hello, Jade. We can't see you.
Come on,
No.
come on. No.
You did
my
it.
God.
She's there somewhere. There she is.
No.
Oh, hi, Jade.
She's just a bit camera shy today after Liverpool.
She's a bit camera shy today, is she? Does she have any points that she'd like to make?
Yeah, she doesn't like Liverpool after today.
No, I still do. It's still my favourite team. Stop.
So, yeah. Okay, because they've lost the game. So this is what you call glory hunters. Oh, yeah, we love Liverpool. I don't like them anymore.
Hang on.
Let me cook.
Hang on. You want
Let me cook.
to talk now?
Let me cook.
She
Let
wants
me
to
cook.
talk now. She wants to talk now.
No. Let me cook. So, I still like Liverpool, but he is making the point that I don't like him just because they lost, but I actually do. I'm not a glory hunter. I swear down.
I said to you when Cole Palmer scored the penalty, I said, what do you think of Liverpool now? Oh, we're so bad.
This is a joke. Oh my God. This is why.
We're
You
so
know you
bad.
are
We're so
sitting next to a
terrible.
sign which says Molyneux Stadium, Jade.
Yeah, you are sitting right next to something that says Molyneux Stadium.
I figured.
Start supporting Wolves. I think it's the only
I
answer.
think you
No, I'm
should,
not a
yeah.
Wolves fan. I'm
No,
not
come
being a Wolves fan. No. I
What
don't
about
want
when
to
we
do
start
that
winning?
side.
These
Dave,
every day?
hang on. Do you not remember, Jay, when we were like 20th and we were on like the live score? We were doing live score predictions with you, Dave, and you said to Jade, "Come join us when we're 20th and lingering to go down to the championship."
I'm
I don't know
happy
if you
in being
remember that, but
champions.
I do remember that.
I'm happy being a Liverpool fan champion.
Okay, Jade. Well, Jade, that's great. You know, fair enough. I'm sure you'll change your mind at some point.
Hopefully,
I won't.
hopefully.
I won't.
I have some lessons to do, don't
No,
I?
you don't.
You do, Scott. Buy her a Wolves sock for her birthday. That's what you need to do, mate.
I
Scott, thanks ever so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me on, Dave.
It's always a pleasure, mate. I'm glad that your computer and your technical problems were sorted this week. Maybe work on the lighting for future shows, but it's certainly.
I've got every light in this room on, though. That's the thing. It's just because it's just the light here. I should hold it at me next time. Do that.
Oh, that's better. We can see you now.
Yay! Thank you. I've got my personal light holder.
Oh my God, go away.
Fantastic. Absolute comedy. Oh dear, brilliant. All the best, Scott. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Dave. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dave.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
Scott.
Bye.
Why?
Oh, it's great. We have young and old on here. I'll tell you what, it's more entertaining than anything Anton Deck can come out with on Extra Time. I can tell you, we have a laugh. We certainly do have a laugh. Now, look, the next part of the show, just want to ask, I just want to basically touch base on Wolves women. Obviously, we talked about it a little last week. There was a bit of a social blackout on anything coming out the Wolves women channels. We do understand that there was a meeting that took place involving Matt Hobbs. Is it Matt Jackson, Emma? And the players. I kind of heard somewhere over Acton Trussell way we were kind of getting the words, and not actually at Compton, somewhere separate. But we haven't heard the outcome of that meeting, because obviously we all know what happened. They were obviously told after the game against Forest that even if they wouldn't have been able to have got up. I've been on Talk Sport last week talking about that. Some of you would have seen that. And today, the London City Lionesses have been promoted to the Women's Super League. So if you don't know who the London City Lionesses are, there were the Millwall Lionesses. Millwall didn't support their team. They were basically disenfranchised. Some American woman with a bit of money has come in and invested in them. And in 2 or 3 years, they're now in the WSL as the London City Lionesses. She's done an interview after the promotion today. And what did she come out with and say? If you invest in something, you can make these sort of things happen. If you've got some ambition, you can make these sort of things happen. So the message should be to the Wolves hierarchy on the Wolves women. If you back them and you invest in them and you believe in them, you can achieve these things. And you know, if you get into the WSL or the Championship WSL, the revenue will come in from sponsors and crowds and stuff anyway. But you have to invest. But we're still waiting on the outcome of that meeting on what's happened. So, Andy, you haven't had a chance to have a chat on this. What's your take around all of that?
I watched you on TalkSport, Dave. I thought you put the case over very well. Fat Shabor and Gabby were on side with you, weren't they? And, you know, women's football is a massive thing at the moment, you know, and everyone's supporting it. It's in the news, obviously, for good and bad reasons with the Ian Wright. And I just think the way it's been handled, most importantly, it's very detrimental to the team spirit and the women who've played all year, you know, that they haven't got the chance to have been promoted if they'd have won, but also the PR side of it as well. I mean, it's an absolute own goal, looking for a cliche there, but, you know, the way it's all been handled. And obviously, I don't want to get ahead of what we're talking about. You and I are playing with some mixed sex football matches, aren't we, imminently?
Yeah.
We're quite excited about. And I'm very, very surprised with the, as you say, the continuity of Premiership status that Wolves have had over the years, that the lack of investments in the women's team has actually been overlooked. So it will be interesting to see what the outcome of this meeting is. It's almost a blessing, I suppose, that we didn't get promoted, because imagine that scenario. So yeah, I watched you on TalkSport. I agree with everything you said, as I think the both presenters did as well. And hopefully it's highlighted this to the club. And as you say, if it's happened at Millwall as well, perhaps it's something that's overlooked by a few different clubs across the country. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the long-term fallout is, and hopefully it will have a positive impact on the ladies' football team.
I hope so. You know, what I would like to see is Wolves not going through any second or third parties and leaking whatever the line is that they want them to spout. I want Wolves to come out on their own website with a statement that they've had this meeting, what the outcome is, that they're going to back the team, that there's going to be guarantees put in place that should they get promotion, they will be supported, and drawing and obviously they've already said the communication is not very good, and drawing a line under it and moving forward. My fear is that they're just going to treat it like they do a lot of things, in it being all the departments are in silos. Basically, at Wolves, they all are in silos, whether it's the media team, the foundation, the commercial department. They all work in silos, and they've all got to make their own money. And I can understand why that might be the case, but sometimes you're pushing beans around from department to department, where you should be having this one pack mentality where we're all linked up together and working with as a cohesive unit. If you're in silos all the time, arguing over money and who's getting what pot of money, it's kind of like you're just moving beans around from one silo to the next.
So I think one thing you said as well, Dave, was about the one pack mentality, how that was overlooked. And equally, I think in International Women's Day, quite recently, Wolves were really good on that. You know, some of the staff that have been there for years, they really got behind it. And obviously the club has got a huge link with Rachel Hayo-Flinch, you know, and she was involved when Fosun initially, you know, came as a director, wasn't she there? And there's always been a strong female presence from characters like Dot Wolseley. Do you remember the old club secretary there? To some of the ladies who are at the club now. So, as you say, the club have always sort of embraced that. So, to have overlooked this on the ladies' football side, there seems to be a lack of continuity in the whole stepping stones of the club, which direction they're going, really, because women's football is something you're either engaged in, you've got a team, you're committed to it, or you're not. So, yeah, there's no halfway house with it all, really, particularly with the income that's around in Premier League clubs. And as you say, it's not something that's regulated, you know, by expenditure and
it's not. It doesn't count under PSR, does it?
No, exactly. So So yes, I found your stuff on TalkSport quite educational, and yeah, I agreed with everything you said. So yeah, we'll have to
I appreciate that, Andy. And I think the majority of Wolves fans, and I can't speak for everyone, obviously, because everyone will have their own different opinion, but even whether you follow the women's team or not, I think most people would agree that they deserve better treatment than this, and they do need backing. Whether or not you go and people go and support or watch them or anything like that, or you even have an interest in it, they still wear the badge. And let's face it, most people don't have an interest in who's playing chess for the Wolves esports team or who's playing Candy Crush for Wolves esports, because they have all these esports team. And personally, I ain't got a problem with them having the esports team because they're trying to build the brand, but they invest in that and they're putting money in that and they're paying people to do that. Only 3 of the women's team are on a part-time contract, but they're paying people to play for Wolves as esports. So why isn't that the same for a football team that's under the club banner? And I'm hoping that there's a plan put in place that they can forward. Emma, have you got anything you'd like to add to any of that?
I mean, for me, a big concern is the head of women's football at Wolves has actually resigned over the issue. Jenna Burt-Martin, she's a fantastic servant for Wolves, and she organises everything from the under-9s girls all the way through the women's sports. She's been incredible. She's put a huge amount of hours in, a huge amount of work to try and make this successful. And she's actually gone, and I think she'll be a real big loss to the women's setup. But like you, I think women's football is probably the fastest growing sport. And generally, on the whole, women's football often there is an overlap with men's football fans, but on the whole, it tends to be a completely different fan base and audience to the men's game. So if Wolves really want to grow their brand, the women's team do offer a great opportunity there. And I don't think it really needs a huge investment to take us to the next level. But I'm concerned by the radio silence. I'd like to hear our club committed to having a successful women's team and supporting those ladies.
Absolutely. Are we sure that she resigned over that? We know she's left. Are we sure that she did resign over that, or
well, she's resigned.
We know that she's left, but I don't think there's any resignation letter, is there, as whether she's gone to another job or not. So just clarity on that. We're not 100% sure whether she's resigned over that, but the timing seems to indicate that she might do, which she's allegedly has, but we're not 100% sure. I'm sure that will come out in the wash. Anything you want to add, Brian?
Yeah, well, you know, Dave, I've been to matches with you and Emma, the ladies' game, so I've supported it, and I used to support it when I was working at Southampton Football Club. You know, I saw they didn't have a ladies' team for because they'd gone into administration. You know, they had all those poor stock that went down 2 divisions and what have you, and they rose from the ashes. You know, but when they got back in the Premier League and they got back into Europe, there was only 2 Premier League teams that didn't have a women's team. That was Southampton, ironically, and Manchester United. Would you believe? And that summer they created, Saints resurrected theirs, and there was a spin-off club called either Saints Ladies or Saints Women. It wasn't Saints FC. And so some of the players were still playing there, so they came back, but there was quite a few years, in between them stopping and coming back.
Man United obviously have gone.
But Man United started at the same level as Southampton, but they had a massive investment. I mean, they were almost
in the men's now, I think.
Yeah,
but they are more successful than the men's team. That's the irony. And the other thing that comes out of this as well, these girls that have been playing for Wolves, they are selling shirts. Mm-hmm. There are young girls that are buying shirts with their names on the back. So, like, from a sponsorship and marketing and revenue and all of that sort of point. The other thing that I've missed, and at some point, somebody should mention this to me, is that Sudo, which we all know is funded by Chairman Grower Fowson, and it's a Wolves brand within a brand within a brand. But like if they're trying to sort of have more appeal, then surely like that's good for Sudo as well in terms of supporting the women's game as well from that side of it, from a merchandise point of view, and growing all of that. So look, at the end of the day, please Wolves, sort this out. Come on and let the fans know what's happening. Back the girls, back Maka, who, by the way, hasn't he been nominated for Manager of the Year in the as well? So that went out as well, and then nothing was shared about his nomination because they were on radio silence. But there has been a couple of things that have been shared I think today. But I think it's got a few people that have kind of said in the comments what's happening with the girls and stuff like that. So yeah, look, that's the women's team. We'll try and keep you up to date if there's any news. But as Carl says, Maka has done a great job in getting there, and that team playing well. Talking about that, we're going to come on to something with me and Andy and Maka in a short period of time. But now we're going to do Room 101 before we go on to that. In the last 10 minutes of the show. So we're now going into do a bit of fun, which is, if I can find it, where is it? Room 101. So we got Room 101. So Room 101 this week, you can put any football club or any sporting person into Room 101. And if your argument's good enough, we'll drop it in. Who wants to go first? Andy, Emma, or Boston?
I don't mind going if you two want to have a think.
Andy, okay, Room 101. Who would you banish forever from existence? What football club or sports person would you banish forever?
I'm quite scared about saying it because going there yesterday, it was a bit spicy, but I'm going to say Port Vale.
Right, you want to put Port Vale into Room 101?
Yes. So went there yesterday as a guest. Brilliant day, the promotion party. Met John Rudge, another guy from Wolverhampton. Remember the legendary John Rudge? 80 years old. Sister still lives in the area. She'd gone up. Anyway, they have been promoted, and their club ambassador, Robbie Williams, was meant to be there. Izzy came with me to meet him, and he didn't turn up. Now, you see Ryan Reynolds flying into Wrexham from LA. When Wolves have got big games, the owners come over from China. And
Robert Plant's there most games.
Robert Plant's there, yeah, most games, exactly. And you see these ambassador roles within clubs and directors, non-executive directors. They're there all the time, flying all across the world. And Izzy's a massive Robbie fan. We went there on the hope of seeing him, and he wasn't there. He was down in London. So I'm putting Port Vale in the Room 101 just for disappointing Izzy and for him, because his pub where he was born is like...
I'm really surprised that it's a promotion party and he's supposed to be this massive fan and he doesn't turn up.
Exactly. And he was born, imagine the goalpost from the Molyneux, the pub where his parents brought him up is as close as the goalpost to the ground. So he's a proper Port Vale fan. So it was disappointing he wasn't there. So, yeah.
Do you know, I'm kind of torn with this one. And I'll tell you for the reason why. I'm kind of like, and I'll need help from Brian and Emma on this and the chat. Right, first of all, I was looking forward to Stoke getting relegated out of the Championship and playing Port Vale in League One, because that would have been spicy. That would be spicy. So there is that. So having Port Vale still in existence, there is still hope of that happening. On the other hand, when we went and played Port Vale, when we were in, I think, League One, I remember going, loads of Wolves fans going, and I remember worrying that my wheels would be taken off my car whilst driving, because, like, I know some places you can leave your car and you might come back and there's no wheels, but I've heard that in where Port Vale is, they actually take the wheels off as you're driving. So there is that. And I also remember when we went to Port Vale and coming out the gates at the back. And Emma will remember this, I think. Oh no, I don't think you were there. Couldn't go.
Yeah, I remember nearly getting trampled by a police horse at Port Vale.
Port Vale, yeah. And anyway, I remember these two Port Vale fans that were on the Wolves fans were coming out, and they were fighting amongst themselves as well. By the way, the Port Vale fans whilst we were at the game. So that's very strange. But I remember these two Port Vale fans. We're all behind this gate. It's all locked. And they're going, come on then, bring it on, and all of this. And then the gates opened, and they literally, all you could hear was like see them disappearing into the distance. As soon as the gates were open, they're gone. But it did make me laugh because they were giving it, because we were all behind these things. And then all of a sudden, the gates opened, and everyone came out, and they just legged it. It was so funny. So I'm kind of torn.
Well, it was a good atmosphere yesterday, Dave, for the promotion, and the fans are very vocal there, as you know. They're all very committed. It's a small little place, isn't it? And it was a great atmosphere. So for him to be a Vale fan and an ambassador and not being there,
I think Emma will be a bit disappointed because, like, she's a big rock. She likes Robbie Williams and his music.
I like Robbie Williams, yeah.
Yeah, they're coming out with all his music, and the stuff there, and he's sweet and everything. So yeah.
Emma and Brian, what do you think? Should Port Vale go into 101?
Well, I'm reluctant to put any football team club in because it's they've all got passionate fans, haven't they? We've been down in the 4th division. We were still passionate about it. I was one of 3,000 at one game, and also think about Port Vale as well. They gave us one of our best experiences as Wolves fans when John de Wolf scored that hat-trick.
Yeah.
The perfect hat-trick, left foot.
And that swings me back the other way again now, Brian.
Yeah.
So you're not no.
No, I'll say no.
Emma?
I'll put Robbie Williams in.
I was just going to say that.
Even had his music would stop, and you wouldn't have.
I can cope with that. I'd rather put Robbie in than Port Vale.
Well, I would as well, but you said it had to be a sports person or a sports club. And I wouldn't want to offend anyone from Port Vale because they were so hospitable and such a nice team. And if I ever went back there again, I'd like to.
But we had that season one. That was what you walked up the aisle to. So, yeah. You know what I mean? So, look, I think I'm not going to put Port Vale in to room 101. It is a tough one. Just because I really think Stoke versus Port Vale would be, I just want popcorn to watch it, and sit back and watch that. And also, I don't think there'll be much of Burston left if they didn't have a football club, because what would they do with themselves? So you've got to give them something to put their energy into. So we're going to keep Port Vale out. So sorry, it's a close call, but we'll keep Port Vale. Boston.
Right, yeah. I'm just watching the comments there, and it's giving me some ideas. But I was going to go back to my Friday night thing about Matt Mateus Nunes, but I'm not going to do that actually.
No.
He tries his best. He's not good, but he tries his best. But I just saw a couple of comments in there, and I did agree with Trudy about the man of the match of the day thing and the debacle we have with that. But sometimes they do give some good things for us. But there's a person that's just been mentioned there. Who mentioned him? Sandwich Wolf, Colin, Neil Warnock.
Oh,
we'll put him in room 101. Thank you, Sandwich. Sandwich, wherever you are. yes, Colin. You know what? You know Colin, don't you? Well, work it out. If you don't know what it's about, work it out. Neil Warnock. That day at Bristol City, Cardiff. You remember Cardiff when we had the 2 penalties at the end there?
Yeah.
Neil was like excited. He runs on the pitch, and Sky cameras are going there, and basically Nuno realised, I should have shook his hand first, and he goes, he apologises, says sorry like that. And Warnock 3 times in front of the Sky cameras, and it was live, so it couldn't be edited. He goes, F off, F off, F off. 3 times he said it. Then he's interviewed after the game, after the game, and he's still fuming because his team's got beaten, right? And he says on Sky Television, he's having a right old go at Nuno, and the words he came out with, he says, "In this country, we show a bit of class." I thought, you've just told the in front of the camera, you've just told the guy to F off 3 times, and you show a bit of class. I've got no time for that bloke at all. And he's just had some blinking award, some EFL award, some lifetime achievement award or something.
Mate, look, I completely get the Neil Warnock thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's so tempted to put Neil Warnock into room 101. But he's pure comedy gold, Brian. He's comedy gold. He's like when someone put the Benny Hill tune over the when he was chasing Nuno. That was just comedy. And like Neil Warnock's biggest regret in life, I think, is not managing Wolves. I think, and his interviews are quite funny. He is very animated and very comical, but you hear him talk, he's quite. I'd love to go to an evening with Neil Warnock and hear his stories because he is quite interesting. Yeah. Do you know what? The stuff that he did with Nuno, although it was like idiot, it is so funny to watch back. And it kind of, when we'd had the drama of those 2 penalties. At the end, and Nuno went on the pitch. It just was magical to see him lose it. So sorry, Brian. I just can't put him in for that reason.
I'll accept that, Dave. Just going back to the match of the day thing, though. Do you remember the interview that Gary Lineker did? He just won about 5 o'clock. Ready for the evening match of the day. And he had this interview with him, and he said, "Well, thanks for coming on, Colin."
Oh yeah, Colin Warnock. Yeah,
Colin. And then they carried on filming it after, and apparently he was fuming, absolutely fuming. He
has got a fuse, which is what makes him quite comical.
So
Emma, what's your nomination for Room 101? Because both, I think Andy got closer to me to getting Port Vale in than Neil Warnock, to be fair with that, because that was really close. Brian, I thought it was a very good argument, but it's just funny to laugh at Warnock. So, Emma.
Well, I've talked on the channel before about the team that I really, really dislike. And I'm not going to put them in.
You're not going for Norwich?
I'm not going to put Norwich in, but okay. I want to put in one of the reasons I really dislike Norwich. I want to put in Delia Smith.
Delia Smith.
Yeah. I'm going to count the last game of the season. Hey? She goes to all the games as well, didn't she? Not like that.
She's moved on now, though, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's moved on.
I don't think she owns Norwich
anymore. Why Delia Smith? I mean, I'm going to give you the nomination because although she's not a sportsman or woman, she did own a football club.
Well, she is. She owned a football club.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll allow it. You are the producer. I can't argue with you, really, can I?
No, you can't.
Yeah. You know what it's like, Andy. Whatever the producer says, you do, don't you? You know what I mean? You know how it is.
I really dislike Delia Smith from the time that she came on the pitch absolutely plastered and gave that "let's be having your" speech.
Where are you?
Yeah,
that's one
reason. And the other reason is this woman made a lot of money writing a book about how to boil an egg. Do I need to say any more?
I know. Listen, well, look, Rebecca has said it's approved. Put her in Room 101. I don't think. Hold on, Rick says he's got the Delia Smith cookbook.
I hope it's not the one about boiling an egg.
Yeah, Rebecca's told him to burn it. To burn it.
I think he's using it now as we speak. She's baking from it. So
you know what? Just because I don't want to hear.
Mary Berry's so much better. Her recipes are so much better.
Yeah, just because I don't want to hear "Let's Be Having You" and all of that sort of stuff.
Nigella's
ever again. And if that could be taken from history, we will put. And you are the producer, so I can't really say no. We'll put Delia Smith into room 101. Fantastic. Right, guys, start putting your questions. We're up to the last 5 minutes of the show. Put your questions in the chat for Andy, Brian, or Emma. You could be asking Emma, Andy, about how it was, any behind the scenes info on my mum or my mum, your dad, what it was like, or anything football. You can ask Brian what it's like living in Southampton, or any good curry houses. And you can ask Emma anything you like, really. But before we get on to that, me and Andy want to talk about something, and put your questions in, we'll come to them. Something that's happening next Sunday. So a week today, myself and Andy is taking part in this charity football game at AFC Wolfronians. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Gates open at 12. Sunday the 11th at the Prestige Midlands Arena. Kirsty Bavington, who's European champion. Dan McManara, who's in the dressing room with me and Andy. I think he's standing in manager for us on the day as well, Andy. So we won't be any.
He was up for manager of the year. So if he loses this game, that could jeopardise his chance, couldn't it? We better perform for him.
We better add. We've got some boxes in there as well. You can see there's Andy's up there, and Paul, your mate from my mum, your dad's on there as well. Isn't he? I'm obviously
no pressure on him, but he's a great player. He's one to watch.
Is he in our team?
Yeah. Oh no, he's in the opposition's team, but
oh, is he? He's on the opposite side.
Yeah. So you can
we've also got Gary Poundland playing. Is Gary in our team?
I don't know. Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, I saw him in the WhatsApp group. Yes, he is.
He's in the WhatsApp group. And Reaper's playing as well. I think Reaper's in our team as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm glad we've got a few boxers in our team as well.
And then there's another list of there. Listen, so look, it's taking place. It's supporting Acorns Children Hospice and Facial Palsy UK. It's supporting, raising money for a really, really good cause. Get yourself down there on Sunday. The QR code is on the screen as well. You can scan that, or drop us a DM at alwayswolves or admin at alwayswolves.co.uk, or at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok, whatever you watch us on. We can send you the link to that, but I think you can also pay on the day as well. But like, it's not that they're hoping to get some pre-sale tickets done, and it's going to be there's loads of other things going on the day as well. It's not just the football match. There's loads of family events around all of that as well. And as I say, myself and Andy will be there. Macca, Gary Poundland, Reaper, Kirsty Bavington, other boxers, and lots of other people as well. So look, I really hope that you can join us. And as I say, it's raising money for Acorns Children's Hospice and Facial Palsy UK. So I wanted to give that a plug for us there. And I hope to see some of you there. And if you are there, we'll make sure you come and say hello to me and Andy on the day as well. And producer Emma will also be there as well. I'm not sure if Brian's back in Brighton, back to Southampton, or whether he's going to turn up as well. You never know. You might get to see Brian there as well. So let's look at any questions that we've got. First one for the panel from Tudy. If Vitor Pereira had been us for the first half of the season, yeah. Is there a question after that?
Yeah, she's done it later now. What position would we have finished?
If Vitor Pereira, here we go, had been with us first half of the season, what position would we have finished, Andy?
I think we'd have probably certainly been in the top 8. How far we'd have gone above that, I don't know. What you've got to think is, would that transfer window in January have been so heavily invested if we weren't in such dire straits?
Yeah.
I think
that's a good point.
We're quite scared that we were facing relegation, so they absolutely threw money at it. We were the biggest spenders, were we, in the Premier League, or second biggest
after Man City, I think.
So perhaps if it wasn't for the fact we were down in the situation we were, there may not have been that investment. So that perhaps gives another view of it, because then again, they may well have budgeted to invest in January to that amount. But so yeah, I think certainly top 8 with his management for the whole season. Obviously, if that window and the situation that we were facing relegation hadn't been there, that might have changed it a bit. But yeah, maybe you never know. We could have another 7th, 6th place. Look at Forest. So that shows what team spirit does for a team. So
100%.
Yeah, I think we'd have been a lot higher. That's for certain anyway.
Emma?
The same, really. I think last summer, before we kicked the ball, Matt Hobbs was saying to it, he came out and said that we were going to be pushing for Europe this season. That was just not the case, was it? But I don't think that was because of players' ability. I think that's all down to management. So if Victor had been in, I think, yeah, maybe we probably would be pushing for Europe.
At the form table at the moment, I think Wolves would be 7th since Victor Pereira's been there. Brian, do you concur with that?
I'm just looking at the table at the moment. In 8th place is Bournemouth on 53 points, 12 points above us. So that's 4 games, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, he'd have won 4 more games, wouldn't he, in the first half of the season? But as Andy said, it's all about timing, isn't it? Really, I mean, maybe
we'll never know, will we?
We'll never know, because would we have got Agbadou? Manetzi. I mean, I know a lot of people have been criticising Manetzi, but he's brilliant at defending from the front. When we're out of possession, he's absolutely brilliant at doing that. And it's when he puts the defenders, he might not always win the ball, but he puts them under pressure. And the amount of balls that Joe Gomez and Andre pick up because of Menetzi's closing down.
Yeah.
When Gary was running the team, I came on in and I said, didn't I, one of the extra times, but when we closed down, we just used to sort of amble over there, with just making a gesture. We weren't really closing down. But this guy is brilliant at it. Those 2 guys have fundamentally
made a big difference.
Yeah.
So yes, then I think we'd have probably got. Yeah. Question. I'll answer this one. And Andrew Crest for the panel. Do you think Wolves will back the women's team? I think it goes from everyone to say we hope they do. We want to hear that they do. We want a statement coming out from Wolves, and I hope so, because it would be an absolute tragedy if this team disintegrates, because they've built something over the last 8 years, and if they don't, I can see a lot of them leaving. I haven't seen anything about rumours on social media. Doesn't want to leave, so I'm not going to answer that one. Sorry, Ray. Scott has got a question for Emma. Are you confident that Emma in the Premier League predictions, or worried that Dave can still win?
I don't think I think, although mathematically you can win, I don't think you will. I think it's a bit like, that relegation where we were like, we're not mathematically safe.
And
I think I'm in that position.
And if you don't know what that is, we do a Premier League prediction show every week, and Emma's winning 18 weeks to 12. It was 18 weeks to 9, and she's been battering me. But the last 3 weeks, it's like Victor Pereira's taken over my mind, and I've having a bit of a surge, but I think it's a bit too late. I think you've probably got to beat me by 9 points every week, 9-10 points every week. 8 points each week over the last 4 matches to pip you, and that's a big ask. It's like, for example, if there are 4 games to go and I'm 10 points behind, and they've got to get virtually pick up only 2 points, and I've got to get everything and have a 15-goal swing or something. It's unlikely.
Good luck, Emma. You've got it in the bag.
You've got it. And we are going to be expanding that next year. We might be having a guest on each week, like from me and Emma, and then having a guest. So Andy, you'll have to come on and do that one for 1 week. A bit like they do on the BBC and stuff like that. It's a bit fun. Carl wants to know, I'll give this one to Andy, actually. Which ex-Wolves player? Now, I'm going to give this one to Andy because Andy goes back with Wolves because you used to work in property for Wolves and stuff, didn't you? So you've got to know a lot of players over the years. Which ex-Wolves player, Andy, past past or present, would you like to see in the team? Would you bring back?
I'm just trying to think. I don't really want to spoil it with going for someone just because of friendships or whatever. I think I would like to see Matt Jarvis in this team. I thought he was exceptional, and we were quite under the cosh in the seasons he played in the Premiership. So to have had some of the players, I mean, he had some great players alongside him as well, but to see him playing with some of the players that have, have been at Wolves, with Moutinho and Neves giving him balls, I'd love to have seen him playing with in the current team with some of the guys there now, and I think he'd have probably got more England caps as well. So, if Wolves would have been in Europe when he was playing there. So yeah, Matt Jarvis would have been a player I'd like to have seen in the current teams.
Brian's got his hand up.
I'd obviously go back a lot longer than that as well, And before I saw Joe Moutinho play for Wolves, the best player I'd ever seen there, without a shadow of a doubt, was Peter Knowles. And it was a tragedy. He retired when he was 23, on the verge of going to Mexico World Cup, and he became a Jehovah's Witness and gave it all up. You got to respect him. He never, he still does that now. He did it on religious grounds, but it was a tragedy. They kept him registered for about 10 years after he left, on the hope that he'd come back, but he never did. He played in Kenny Hibbitt's testimonial match. That's the only time he ever came back. But,
that's a good shout. That is, Brian.
Yeah.
Peter Knowles, what a player he was. I'm going to bang through the questions because we've got literally 5 minutes and we're done. Africans, nations, end of the year, Emma. Do we have cover for them if they're still at the club? Ryan Ait-Nouri, Emmanuel Agbadou, Boubacar Traore, Marshall Manetzi. Thoughts on that?
I think it is a concern. But I know in the past Wolves haven't particularly done anything to cover specifically for just a short period of time, like the African Cup of Nations. Last time it was the African Cup of Nations, they didn't do anything and we were short. I think, it could be a problem.
Also, don't forget some of these African nations. I don't know whether Manetzi's team ain't even going to qualify. And so they have to qualify for the finals as well. So that's interesting. Neil White's got a question I'll answer. How many players incoming? Neil, it's a really good question. I think a lot of it depends on the outgoings. I would say that there's going to be Sarabia, Cunha, potentially Ryan Ait-Nouri, Fabio Silva. I reckon there'll be 5 or 6 players that'll go out. And I think we'll probably see obviously Yerson will come back. Hopefully Hugo Bueno will come back. I think we'll probably see 4 or 5 incomings in this summer window if they're really going. Because obviously, again, you've got to look at Guedes and Wang, what happens with them as well. Kalajic back in training. So I think it's going to be an absolute pivotal summer. So it's a very good question, but I think it's not going to be, it doesn't need to be a revolution. It needs to be a very smart evolution. And if they get it right, I think we'll be in for a fantastic season. Hold on. I've just got to do this. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's a new member. Neil Lewis, thank you for becoming a member, mate. We will put on the community tab after this the members version of it, because there's different things. As a member, you'll be able to see. We will put the link to the members Discord group. Get yourself on the Discord group. Get involved in the chat. We talk about everything every single day on there, from Wolves to football to music to everything. So we'll put the link. But thank you for becoming a member and supporting the channel. That means the absolute world. And you'll get your little wolf badge as well. You start off with green, and after 2 years, you go to gold. So yeah, I'm just running through. David Cook wants to know if we can get 12th this season. I'll answer that. Yes, if Palace take their eye off the ball. I think they'll beat Forest, though. And I think it might be a bit too often. We've obviously got to play them, so it's possible if they take their eye off the ball for the FA Cup, maybe. Scott wants to be a guest on Premier League predictions next year. If we do the special guest each week, you can come on and do that, of course. I'm just running through that. Keith says there, evolution. Just hope Jeff doesn't mess it all up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Look, I'm hoping. Look, aside from the Wolves women mess and PR own goal that's happened, look, the season tickets have been frozen, and this is why I get frustrated. It's like, okay, we made all them mistakes last year, and just when things are starting to go well, you get in the bond back, you drop a massive own goal with the women. It's like, I just think, oh. So my heart says they're going to get it right this summer. I believe, I'm having the faith that they're going to learn the lessons and they're going to get it right. But there's a little thing at the back of my head that thinks, yes, okay, believe that if you want, Dave. But we will soon see. Look, guys, thank you ever so much for getting involved in the show tonight. It's been fantastic. Absolutely brilliant to have Emma and Brian on. Lots of comment today. Andy, have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you for inviting me on, and yeah, really enjoyed it. So thank you.
2 things, Andy.
Yeah.
2 things. 1, look forward to sharing a dressing room with you on Sunday, and with Macca and Gary Poundland and Reaper and all, and that's going to be interesting. So, guys, reminder about that. Come down and support us. And the second thing is, mate, we're overdue a game of tennis. We need to sort it.
We are. Well, we'll see how our legs feel after our football game next week.
Maybe leave it at least a week after that, yeah. But we'll maybe when the football season's over, we can get a game in.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Definitely.
And a drink after, but it's nice. And Andy, thanks ever so much for coming on. Guys, thanks for joining us in the chat. Thanks if you've liked. Thanks for our new member. Thanks if you've subscribed. And if you're watching it back on catch up, leave your thoughts in the comment. If you listen to it on the podcast, follow us on the podcast. And finally, of course, again, thank you ever so much to Creation Wolf. And don't forget the link to Match Bingo is in the link below. Until the next one, from all of us here, always Wolves.